video is to show you how to program a Baofeng radio for non-ham users. Somebody, if you're like me, you want to be able to talk to an FRS radio such as this, or perhaps a marine VHF radio. That was my goal with these radios. These radios are less than $25. I got the slightly upgraded version, which is called the UV-82. The cheaper and more common version is the UV-5R. There seems to be quite a range of these. I wouldn't worry too much about it. I would just go for an inexpensive model. So let's get to it. So the way it comes out of the box is in what they call frequency mode, as she says. So in frequency mode, it's actually got the frequencies in here. And that's great if you're a ham operator. It's not really very good if you want to talk to an FRS radio like this. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to program this radio. And let me show you the cable that's going to be required for this radio. Okay, so this is a Baofeng radio cable, and apparently there's a big problem with counterfeit cables. I've read some internet reports that say that you want to get a cable that does not have a sticker here. This says Baofeng on it, and some reports are that these ones are fake, and also saying that this part here should be Coke bottle shaped instead of this straight shape. However, this cable I got from Amazon from the Baofeng company itself, so I was pretty sure it's legit, and it does seem to be legit, and I'll show you how you can verify that on your computer. And then it's going to have these plugs here. By the way, for those of you considering a VHF radio, there is a waterproof version of the radio. I don't believe, however, it is it floats. And so you can pay 25 bucks for this radio, or you can pay like, I don't know, 50 bucks for one that floats, or maybe it's 75. I can't remember. Sorry, for one that's waterproof, it doesn't float. And I figured I'll just let it go overboard and buy a new one for. Anyways, so these plugs go in here. There's a waterproof version where you actually have to unscrew this. This one you don't have to unscrew. And that is what's going to program it. However, I want to caution that on my cable, even though it's an original cable, you have to sometimes hold it in to get it to program. What I end up doing, or people recommend, is you take a rubber band, very tight rubber band, and you rubber band around here to keep the thing held in. But that is unfortunately a situation. Okay, so the next question is, how do you program it for these FRS GMRS or VHF? Well, there's a bunch of videos on the internet showing you how to program a channel manually. And let me tell you, that is a bunch of work. You don't want to do it if you're trying to program a whole bunch of channels.
Mode.
So instead, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to do it on your computer using software called Chirp. So I'm going to switch over there.
The software we're going to be using is called Chirp. But before that, I want to show you the device manager and how to verify if the cable that you purchased is a valid cable. So I'm going to plug in the cable, and you can watch down here as this item comes up in the device manager, and you can see it change. Okay, I just plugged it in, and it refreshed. And now under ports, if it says prolific, then you're set. Okay, if it doesn't, if it says generic or it's got some exclamation mark or whatever, then it's fake. Now, it did once come up and say fake the first time I plugged it in, but after a while it finally changed to prolific, and I haven't had a problem since. So thankfully that's good. If you have a fake one, apparently what you have to do is go in and you have to actually revert the driver to an older driver, and that will fool it. And then every time you want to use Chirp, you need to go in and upload that same driver, because Windows will replace it because it's an old driver. So you really don't want to do that. You really want to get the right cable to begin with. All right, so once we have the right cable, we can download Chirp. Just Google it and find it. And now Chirp, of course, this is what you get to Chirp to start with from Chirp. It's very unintuitive what you need to do. So I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do in order to use Chirp. So I'm going to turn plug my cable in, turn my radio on volume max. I'm going to click download from radio, and I've selected my model at UV-82. Many of you are going to have a UV-5R. Okay, so let's go ahead and try. Now it says turn the radio off, connect the cable, make sure it's firmly connected. And again, you may have to use a rubber band. Turn the radio on, set it to 100%, and then click OK. and I can see right now it is not downloading, so I'm going to go ahead and cancel that. Or okay, what I'm going to do again, now I'm going to actually hold the plug into the cable, download again, and miraculously, just because I'm holding my finger on the cable very tightly, now it's going to download the radio. So first thing we're doing is downloading the radio. Oh, okay, didn't quite work. Let me get a rubber band and try doing this again. All right, now I've got it rubber banded, and let's try it a second time. Okay, seems to be cloning. Okay, so the reason why we have to download the radio is because you can't, well, there's several reasons. I'll show you more reasons, but you need to start with downloading the radio. Plus, you want to verify that it's actually talking to your radio. Okay, so looks like right now my radio doesn't have any channels in it except for this one here. So now what we need to do is get a file that has all the channels that we want. So I'm going to switch over to the web and try to find the right file. So if you Google for FRS GMRS channels or something to that variety, you'll probably end up at this site or something similar, where it's got a long list of frequencies and names. Oh, it's even got some instructions. How nice of it. I don't think it actually gave you all the instructions you needed, though. So what we're going to do is we're going to download this file, and this is actually going to save it as a CS. Well, we need to click down here. Download it to my computer. It's going to save it as CSV file. Okay, now the next thing we want to do is open this up in Excel, but don't just open it up the normal way. Let me show you. Let me jump over there and show you. So the problem in Excel is that you can actually see it, not just Excel, but this is in Dropbox. It interprets, this is actually MAR06, but it interprets it as March 6. So we have to force Excel to not interpret things. So we're going to switch over to Excel, and I'm going to, instead of just opening the file, which would interpret it incorrectly, I'm actually going to go to the Data tab and then open it from a text CSV. So I pointed Excel at the file that I downloaded here, and what it's going to do is actually import it not as a regular range, but as a database, which is okay. Go ahead and tell it to load. I believe that you shouldn't have to do anything special in order to get it to load correctly. Let's go down here and check to see if, yes, so the ones that looked like dates are no longer dates, okay? So now what we need to do is we need to convert this from it's actually a database, which is not what we want. We want it to a range. So we're going to convert it to a range. And it doesn't look like much happened, but it's actually a second sheet. This is the database. No? Okay. Well, anyways, it is now a database, a range that we can work with. So now we need to make a couple of changes. First of all, there's a lot of different things in here that you can delete. I left this FRS 01 in here, which is an FRS channel 0, which FRS radios don't have. I left it in there just so 1 would correspond to 1. Okay, channel 1 is going to be FRS 1. So you got 1 through 14, the normal FRS, and you got the GMRS 15 through 22. There's actually 2 sets of 15 through 22. These ones are for, it's called duplex. I won't get into it. Anyways, FRS radios don't use these, so I'm going to delete these. So I'm going to select it and do edit delete. And then there's a bunch of things in here that you may or may not be interested in. I've decided I'm not going to use these ones. These are for like business use. I'm going to go ahead and select these ones and delete these ones as well. Okay, these are marine VHF channels. This is what I want. And then way down at the end, okay, so these are weather channels. I do want those weather channels. But then we've got search and rescue, ham, etc. I'm not going to use those. You can save them if you want. Okay, let's go ahead and delete those. Next thing is the numbers are wrong. Okay, so we used to have 92 rows. Now we don't. You can use this Excel autofill feature. Select the first 2 rows, go down to the lower right of the cell where it becomes a plus, and then just drag down until you get to the end. And it'll automatically fill the correct numbers. Don't worry about the fact that the colors are off. That's not a big deal. Okay, so a couple other things we need to fix. So the FRS radios have these privacy codes, and the way it's set up right now, this tone here means that it is using the privacy codes. Unfortunately, the way the Baofeng works, if you set the code here, you will not be able to change it later. So the best thing to do is actually to get rid of this. So I'm just going to clear this cell. Let's see, it'd probably be delete. Actually, let's clear the contents. Okay, so now it's going to ignore these tone frequencies here. By the way, if you do want to program it, what you're going to have to do is you're going to actually have to, I'll show you later. Okay, so we've gotten rid of the tone frequencies for the FRS. Okay, another thing that we want to do is you can choose which channels to scan over. So I want to scan over the FRS and the GMRS and the marine. I don't want to scan over the weather, because if I want the weather, I will manually listen to it. So if we take a look, this channel, this column here is called skip. Let's go down here for skip, and you need to put in a capital S. Lowercase will not work. Capital S. Okay, so now what we've got is 69 total channels with the weather, the marine, the GMRS, the FRS. By the way, I'm not going to go into this, but the Baofeng is actually illegal for regular FRS GMRS usage because of the power is too high. So you need to be a licensed ham operator, I guess, in order to be able to do that legally. Okay, so let's save this now as a CSV file. Okay, and it's only going to save the active sheet, which is fine. Okay, so now let's go back to Chirp. Okay, now I'm going to open up that CSV file. And here's all the frequencies. So that's looking pretty good. Okay, so the next step is we are going to try downloading the frequencies to this radio. So I'm going to select radio. Oh, right, yeah. So problem is that I can't upload to the radio. And if you take a look at this menu here, the upload to radio is gray. The reason why it's gray is because it's a generic file. Okay, the CSV is a generic file. It needs to know everything about the radio to upload to it. And that is why we uploaded the radio. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy these frequencies. You have to select all of them individually. Well, you have to select the specific rows. If you select Control A, it'll copy 1,000 rows. And we're going to click on row 0 and paste. So it's going to overwrite all those locations. Now the radio will allow it to be uploaded. Okay, so I've got my radio here, and I'm going to click Upload to Radio, and
click OK. Now you notice this little light right here. The light is flashing on the radio, and that tells me that it's actually programming the radio correctly. If the green light isn't flashing, then it's not working. And you can see my little rubber band solution there. It's silly, but it's necessary. I've read other reports that that's what's required. Okay, so it's after it's finished downloading, it's rebooting the radio. Okay, so now we should have, let's take this out first of all, and then once we get that out, we should be able to hear all the wonderful frequencies. Okay. Let's turn it off and start over.
Frequency mode.
Okay, it's frequency mode. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to hold down the menu button on this UV-82. On the UV-5R, there's a button to switch between frequency and channel mode.
Channel mode.
Okay, so now it's in channel mode. So looking at my report, FRS 01 is 462.5625. Okay, and then we're going to go
1, 2.
channel 2. Now, these are the right channels, but
4,
obviously it's not very
5,
friendly to look at
6.
this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go hit menu, and then we're going to go, we have to change the name. I'm going to scroll down here, looking for mode A and mode B. Oh, here we go. Mode FA. So right now it's frequency. I hit menu, then I change it to not the channel, but the name. Hit menu again to go back, and then I'm actually going to change menu B as well to be the name.
Confirm.
Okay, oops, I got channel A,
Menu.
menu B. should be the name. Huh, interesting. A and B should be the name. I don't know why not. Let's switch down to the lower. So we're in the upper one now, that little icon. Hit this to go to the upper. Like try transmitting. Let's try change it. There we go.
1 0 1 2 3 4
Okay, so you switch between the two frequencies here.
7 8 9.
So we're on channel 9 now here. Okay, so that's channel 9. Now here's a Motorola radio on frequency 9 CTSS10. Gonna go ahead and try to transmit, and it works. Okay, I'm gonna try to transmit from here. If you want the upper channel, you need to hold the upper button. If you want the lower channel, you need the lower button. Okay, so you probably can't tell, but it's not transmitting here. The reason why is because the codes aren't right. If I go and I change this code, turn off the privacy code to 0, now, I'll wait till that times out so you can see. Again, it's hard for you to hear, but it's actually, it's testing, turn up the testing, testing. So it's working. So in case you don't know, the privacy codes on an FRS radio are not really private. What they do is the receiver can choose which channels to listen to. So this guy here, I'll show you, menu, and you can go down 13 times, or I'm just gonna hit 13, that takes me directly to it. It's called the CTCS codes, and so they're off for transmit, and they're off for receive, okay? So this radio won't filter out anything. Anyone with any privacy code, you can hear on this radio on channel 9. But when this guy was set to code, then it's not gonna hear it. So the question is, how do you set the codes on here? And this is the one big problem with these radios, trying to talk with these radios, is that you cannot, on the fly, program the CTCS. So if I go in here and I go to transmit CTCS menu, change it to one of the frequencies, and I hit menu, it turns it back off. And that's because we've programmed this channel by chirp. So what I'm going to do is show you, and I can't figure out any way to make it to override that. I'm going to show you how to program a single channel. Okay, so let's first of all take a look at the channels I've got.
4 3 2 1 0 1 2 6 9 6
Okay,
8 6.
that's channel 89,
1
and then channel 127 there. Actually, I'm not sure why channel 127 is there, because when I look at my file, I don't think channel 127. Oh, actually, channel 127 is in the file. I didn't even notice it. But let's create a channel. So first, what we got to do is all these frequencies correspond to, or I should say the reverse way. All of these frequencies have a number to them. Okay, you can Google it online and see what the number is. The other way you can do it is go in here.
0 1 2
Let's see.
3 4 5.
Let's go to channel 9.
9.
So instead of that name, we can go look at the number. Okay, so let's go back here to name. Mode A. There's a lot of options in here. Okay, mode FA. Okay, so it's name now. Let's switch it to frequency.
Confirm.
Okay, so what we need is the frequency 467.587. Okay, 467.587. So what I'm going to do is turn this off, hold down the menu button to get it into
Frequency mode.
frequency mode. Okay. So what did I say? I actually have to look this up because I didn't remember it. Okay, it's 467, channel 9 is 467.587. Okay, that is channel 9. Let's just double check. Yep, it works. So that's channel 9. Now we need to do is change the CTSS code. I'm gonna hit 13 to get me there. So right now the transmit is off. Hit menu to go down. Then change it. Now, these numbers, again, of course, there's numbers for each of these privacy codes. And due to a quirk in how some brands work, the first option in here,
CTCSS.
this is code 1, then code 2, you skip, okay? So this is actually code we don't want this. That's not a real code 2 on most brands. This is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, and we're going to set on this. Let's go to 7, 9, 11. Okay, so this is set to 9, 11. This one, I think I...
Menu.
No, it didn't stick. Okay, let's try it again. So I go to menu.
BTCSF.
1, skip 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 97.4. I know that's correct.
Confirm.
And then you have to hit exit to store it. Let's just double check. It is. Okay. So that's the transmit. And you can also do the receive. We'll do that menu.
BTCSF.
So we change to 97.4. Okay, 97.4. Menu,
Confirm.
exit. Okay, so let's just check this. That's the feedback was showing that's going to work. Testing, testing, testing. That works. Okay, so this is correct. Now how do I store this? I go to menu, and then what is the menu? It's, I don't remember what the menu number is. Let's go look for mem. Okay, mem channel. Okay, you hit menu.
Memory channel.
And then you can go through all of these. It's going to take a long time. I know that anything with a channel 00 whatever, that channel is already occupied. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to jump to channel 99. Okay, that's an open channel. And then I'm going to hit menu.
Receiving memory.
It says receiving memory, but really what it's doing is storing the memory. And then hit exit. Okay, now let's check. Turn off. Hold the menu button.
Channel mode.
Okay, it says channel mode. So now this is supposed to be a channel. It's
1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
oh right. I got to change the display. So we got to go to okay mode A instead of frequency. And change it to name.
Confirm.
Okay.
7.
Okay, let's go back down
3, 2,
to 10.
0, 1,
There's 100
2,
channel 127 and then
9,
channel
9.
99. So this is channel 99. I just set up channel 9, code 11. If I hold this down, testing, 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 it works. And then same thing here. Testing, 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 it works. And just to show you again about the codes, let's change the privacy code to 10. Okay, so now what's going to happen, this radio is set to receive on channel privacy code 11. So when I try to broadcast on this, it shouldn't work. Testing, 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 testing. So you see the green light, it's actually receiving something on channel, but it's not actually playing anything over the speaker. It's a little bit hard for you to tell over there. Let me go the other way. So this is transmitting on 11, and this is supposed to be only receiving on code 10. Testing, testing, testing. Testing, testing, testing. Testing, testing, testing. Testing, testing, testing. So the first time it actually did squawk, but after that it didn't work. And again, these are not 100% secure. That's an example of it that's not secure. So right, so we've got, that's how you would, on the fly, when you're out and somebody says, oh, hey, let's do channel 2, privacy code 5. In order for you to do that, you're going to have to do this and create a special channel for yourself. Also, I wanted to show you that...
1, 2, 7.
So this channel got in here. We don't really want this. I'll show you how to delete it.
Menu.
We need to go to mem. Where is that? I think it's like 41 or something. So many options. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Mem channel is 27. Del channel is 28. Okay, so I'm going to go Del channel. Channel 127. It's already there because that's the channel I'm on.
Confirm.
Confirmed. Okay, so now when I go
1, 0,
up from 0,
9, 9,
there's my channel 99. Channel
6,
127 is now
6,
missing.
6,
Okay.
6, 6, 6, 9.
All right, some
9.
other things that we need to do with this radio. Oh yeah, I want to show you scanning. Okay, so now I can talk to my FRS radios. VHF, I've already got on
One,
here.
two, three,
Let's go
four,
to 22, or 0,
0,
22.
2.
Okay, so there's GMRS 22. I just skipped a bunch.
2, 3.
Now we're in Maritime, Marine 01,
2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2,
etc. So there's my
0.
Marine. You see that? It's picking up something on 10, but it's not really there. Let's hit menu. Let's go to squelch, which is way up at the top. In fact, I probably should just do 04. Okay, Vox. Let's go to squelch. Where is squelch? Oh, squelch. There it is. Squelch. I can turn the squelch up to 9. Whoops. Squelch. Menu. Let's set it to 9. That's the highest squelch.
Confirm.
Okay, so that's the highest squelch, but I still get interference. You know, if I walk 30 feet away from my computer, I won't be getting this interference. But what I want to show you is now, how do you do scanning? That's another common...
Scanning begin.
So all I have to do is press and hold scanning. And now it's going to scan through all these channels. It found something briefly on one of the Marine channels, but... Okay, Marine 73, there's some more problems. Again, if I walk away from my computer, I won't be having these squelch issues. Okay, but let me just try transmitting on... I'm going to have to wait till it gets back around, transmit on 9. I also want to show you how to monitor 2 channels at once. Okay, but here we're going to go. We're going to go wrap around and go to... So I'm transmitting on 9 now. And as soon as it got to 9, it stopped, and now it's listening on 9. Okay, so it stopped there. I'm going to cancel the scan by pressing scan.
Stop.
I'm going to switch to the lower... No, get out of that.
2, 6.
Okay, I'm going to change to the lower channel by pressing exit. Now, I want to monitor
6,
channel 9 all the
9,
time.
1, 0, 9.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is
Menu.
go to menu, and then one of these options is called TDR. Okay, TDR, that's dual... Oh gosh, I can't remember what it is. But this will allow me to do a dual watch on these channels. So I turn this on.
Confirm.
Okay, so now what happens is that it'll always watch channel 9, even if I'm listening to, let's go up to channel 6. I'm going to try transmitting on channel 9. Testing, testing, testing. Testing, testing, testing. Testing, testing, testing. Yes, it works. So, it does work, and we can even be scanning.
Scanning begin.
Okay, let's try it. Testing, testing, testing. Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Okay, well, it found channel 9 on the scanning. It should still work. Testing, testing, testing. Interesting.
Scanning stop.
I thought it should work. Maybe it doesn't work. I'm not sure. But let's do something else. Let's go to channel 99. 099.
9, 9.
Okay, let's go
6,
back up. So these are
9,
weather channels.
6,
I just wanted to show
6,
you.
6, 6,
So these
6,
weather channels
3.
are
Wind
not.
waves 2 feet or less. The
So-
8 to 14 day out.
So these weather channels are not being scanned because I removed the I put the S on these channels to skip them. Okay. Well, that concludes my tutorial on how to program your Baofeng radio to work as an FRS or VHF radio. I want to say that overall, it's a great radio with one big problem, and that is for FRS compatibility. You can't just show up at an event and have somebody tell you, oh, let's be on channel 9 privacy code 11 without having to go in and program a channel, which is laborious, and quite frankly, it's a little bit challenging to do on the fly. So that's a real big limitation of these radios. I really wish that they had thought that through and allowed you to be able to set the privacy code on any channel. As it is, the channels are locked. There's no way to go back in without going to chirp and modify that channel. You have to create a whole new channel like I did here for channel 99099.
099.
So that's my channel that I set up with the
Menu.
privacy codes. But other than that, it's let's say if you just want to talk to FRS radios, quite honestly, I think you should just go out and buy an FRS radio because it's so much easier to set the privacy codes. if you just want a VHF radio, you are very likely better off buying just a VHF radio because these guys, even the waterproof ones, don't float. And for marine usage, that's a serious consideration. But the reason why I bought it is because I wanted to do both. I didn't want to have to get two sets of radios. Marine radios are very expensive, and they frequently have non-standard batteries. This Baofeng model is so popular, you'll be able to get batteries for this thing forever. Versus, like, for example, I was looking at a Great Little West Marine radio that is no longer manufactured, and you can't buy the batteries for it anymore. So for that reason, having a Baofeng radio, you're probably likely to do well. It's certainly very cheap, that's for sure. So with this knowledge of how to program in the radio, I think it's a pretty darn good radio. The cable is annoying, and even the best cables apparently have this problem where they don't program perfectly, but at least I've shown you how to make sure that they program by pushing that cable in. I'm not sure if it's even worth returning that cable, because the next one probably going to be the exact same way. But that's my review of the Baofeng. I've shown you how to get up and running with FRS and VHF.
As I was putting the finishing touches on this video, I researched it some more and found that there is an option here under Chirp to change the power for your radios. So you can click on here and change the power from high to low, and this will download to the radio, and it actually will stick. Unfortunately, I don't have a way to do that from the channels CSV file. You'll have to wait until you bring it into Chirp and download the radio, but these do seem to stick, so that's great. Also, I researched it, and as of May 2017, they actually allow 2 watts in channels 1 through 7 and 15 to 22. The UV-82 is, and apparently there's no limits between channels 8 through 14. So I left 8 through 14 high. You might want to switch it to low just so you preserve batteries, but you can now switch channels 1 through 7 and 15 through 22 to low, and you are 100% legal, at least as far as the transmission goes. There's still some FCC rules about not having detachable antennas, but I don't think you're going to be breaking any FCC laws by transmitting on these frequencies with this setting. So even better, I can even more fully strongly recommend that's okay. And there's no problem on the marine channels. On the marine channels, you generally want that to be as high as possible because you're trying to reach a boat that could be miles away from you. So with that added, I think it's another good recommendation for the Baofengs.